Hello and welcome. I'm Rowan, and I'm sure like not many people are here yet, so I'm going to send out a couple invites. Okay. All right. So I'm Rowan, if you don't know me yet. And I actually have a great little shop called Triple Goddess Apothecary and Reiki, where I teach classes, I sell crystals, I sell handcrafted candles that I make, crystal jewelry, because of course we've got to have our crystal jewelry, right? So that kind of fun stuff. So, but welcome. So today is Tuesday Tarot. So I do one card readings, but in between doing readings, while we're waiting for questions, I actually will talk about stuff associated with tarot or divination or fortune telling, because let's face it, that stuff's kind of fun, right? So, and please, if you haven't liked my channel yet, make sure you like and follow it, subscribe, and in my information, you'll see the link to my Patreon and to my website where you can get classes, you can see blogs, like all that kind of fun stuff. So, always kind of fun to be able to have access to something like that. So tonight is one card reading, so that's what Tarot Tuesday is. I'm going to see how long I'll go for tonight. I'm like, allergies, like I'm so glad the sun's out and everything, but yes, my allergies are going crazy. So got to get like a grip on those little things, and hopefully I won't have a coughing spell like I was earlier today. So all right, so tarot is really fun, and looks like my moderator is here, so I will let my moderator come up. So tarot is a lot of fun. It's a form of what is known as divination, and it's actually cartomancy. So when you see cartomancy, that is dealing with cards. So cartomancy would be like, here's like a Lenormand deck that I have, and I've of course got my favorite tarot deck here, but any kind of cards. So you can actually even use playing cards to do readings. And some tarot decks actually look more like playing cards when you get into the pips than, because they sometimes don't have the wands. They will just actually have the pictures of like the hearts, the clubs, the diamonds, and all of a sudden I'm blanking. Spades. There we go. Got them all. So, so you can learn. And actually, when I was in high school, my girlfriend, she would do the minor arcana with playing cards because our parents were very, very religious. So it wasn't okay to tarot cards were like a taboo. So, she's actually really good with her pip cards because she knows how to read them off regular poker deck. So you can do that. So that is cartomancy. And so oracle cards fall into that. Lenormand, Kepper, tarot, they all fall into cartomancy. And when we are using cartomancy cards, when we're using it as a form of divination, we are doing self-reflection. We're looking at building our intuition if you're a reader, if you're reading for yourself or if you're reading for others. And we're just trying to find out a question, you know? The nice thing is tarot is not set in stone. So when you get a reading, it doesn't mean, like, especially if there's a future. So if you do a past, present, future reading, your future is not set in stone. So that's the nice thing about it, is if you stay on the path you're on, that is what your outcome will be. So that's what's really neat about working with cartomancy. And you can ask simple questions like, what do I need to do to get a promotion? And it will give you tips and tricks. So that's the really neat thing. So I want to welcome Azriel, my moderator. So welcome, Azriel. How are you tonight?
Oh, excellent. Thank you. I was hoping to make it on time. I was like, what, a minute late? I'm doing good. Yes, I stepped out to the store to get some ice bags, for my knee. I'm actually feeling a lot more better, but it's still there. It's still there because it's my commuting leg knee. So So it's a little sore, but it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, those other cards that you were talking about, the spade, the diamond. What's that? The spade, the diamond, the heart, and
Spade,
the
diamond,
club.
club. Yes.
Yes, yes. Those are traditional cards. But you know what? I don't know if we could say the G word. GYPSY. Supposedly that's their type of reading. They use those cards as well. Yes.
Yep.
You know,
I would say Romani, or wait, Romy. Romy is what we would want to say.
yeah, Romy, yeah, Romani, Romy. Yes, yes. And I do have a deck of those, but I can't interpretate them. I'm so as soon as I grab them, I want to play cards.
Right? That's me. I mean, I do have a tarot deck that has the most beautiful major arcana picture. And it's really, really stunning. And then when you get to the pips, they are the clubs, hearts, diamonds, and spades. And it's like, and I like read the book like 1,000 times, and I don't read with that deck because I struggle so much with that. So, and I know like it does have like, but you can, any other deck, I'm good. So it is an art to be able to read playing cards. That is very, very true. So those that are just joining, oh, go ahead, Azriel.
And just like any divination tool, it's what resonates with you as the individual. You utilize it the way you can interpret it, and depending on the questions that are being asked and so forth and so forth, so it makes a lot of sense. But we have to be familiar with it because if you're out of your league type of stuff, if you're working with the regular tarot cards and then you work with that one, it's kind of difficult. It's a little bit difficult, kind of discouraging.
Yes, yes, it can be. And if you're learning, um, I would definitely not recommend trying to like learn that. Learn the regular, and most teachers will tell you, and I should like grab my non-Romanian deck to show everybody. But yes, like the Rider Waite, and this is the Rider Waite in Romanian. You can get it actually in every language, which is really cool. And so US Gameworks, their copyright is done. So you will see variations. And let's see, I have like, yes, this is my new deck, Tarot of the Traditions, and it is actually a variation. It's the card, but they've really made like more of a 3D image of the cards. So most tarot teachers, and I do teach tarot, are going to recommend that you get the Rider Waite deck. But let's be honest, the artwork is great for the time period, 1906. So it was great artwork back then. Now we have like, we have all this stunning, I'll just grab like one. I mean, like this deck, the artwork is just really stunning now. I mean, things have changed. Everything evolves. Like we all evolve and our society evolves. So yes, the pictures are a lot better. So if it doesn't resonate with you, you can always grab this deck, Tarot of the Traditions, because they're literally the same cards. They're just more vivid and in 3D. So that's kind of a nice thing to know. But once you learn the Rider Waite deck, which most decks are based off Rider Waite, which is based off the Marcel's deck. The Marcel's deck is very old, but it is based off the Marcel's deck. You can usually pick up any deck and read it. Now, as long as it is Rider Waite like, you will find decks that do not have any semblance of Rider Waite at all. And so then you do need to kind of like work with your intuition and look at the book, because some of them are going to come with little books, some of them are going to come with big books, and some of them you're not going to know. Even like Aleister Crowley's deck, the Thoth deck, that one's really confusing. It's one that I've read it a couple times. I do readings for myself with it, but I won't do readings for other people because it is a different deck. And it has like a different energy, and I'm not ready to do that with people. And so that's just it. Is it's like you want to take a deck that is going to resonate with you, that you have a relationship with. And we build our relationships with our tarot decks by doing card pulls for ourselves, by looking at the images, by learning about what all of the symbolism means. And the symbolism, that's where your difference is going to be. So when you are learning tarot and you want to read it for other people, you want to be able to use the intuition, the keywords, and the symbolism. That's how you do a really good reading. So, and like I have 3 tarot teachers. They all taught me that. I have talked to other people. It's kind of like, that's like the standard. So when you take a tarot class, that's what you should be looking for. Azrael, anything to add?
You're covering very well, and I do want to encourage those that are in the comments, especially you, Meowser. Rowan is actually doing one card readings, and if you want a card read, all you got to do is just post your question, and she can actually give you a one card reading if you would like that.
Yes. Thank you, Azrael. So I'll pop in with some other tarot tips and tricks as I go along tonight. But yes, if you would like a one card reading, tonight is one card readings. I'm sure at some point I'll be just doing reading after reading after reading. But right now, I'm tossing in little tarot tips and tricks. If by weird chance I miss your question, hopefully I won't. I'm still getting kind of used to looking at the questions and like making sure you see me or the card on the screen. But Azrael will help me out there, and don't feel bad if I'm like 1 second as I scroll.
Yes, yeah, I'll point it out to you. Also, I was going to mention, there was another deck that I purchased many years ago. It was all coins. It was just all coins. I'm not sure if you ever seen those. It was a Spanish, like from Spain, tarot. It was all coins, not quite like the Pentacles, but it was just all coins, different coins.
Ooh, that's kind of fun.
If I could track it down, I will send you a screenshot of it.
Okay.
But it was all coins, and it was kind of odd to read because, like we were talking about the suits, and all the decks have suits, and these I really didn't see any difference in how do you separate them? I didn't know.
Yeah, that would make it hard. Like the older decks, there's reproductions of the older decks. And I know you took my tarot class and I showed pictures of the older decks. And when I say older decks, I'm talking back in the 17th century when they were starting to come out, when they were literally hand drawing each tarot card. And so each deck was hand drawn and done up. There are reproductions out. And when you look at some of them, like the ones that come from Italy, so Italy and France were the 2 biggest places to get your tarot decks back then. And they are really confusing to read, those old ones too. The old ones it's like, wow. But like for them, it would have been natural. So for us, it's like, wait, we're used to this deck. We're used to pictures. We need pictures. So please feel free, if you have a question, a tarot question that's burning in your chest tonight, please feel free to add your question in the chat, and I will do my best to answer everybody's questions. And in between, Azrael and I will be talking about divination, and I've got a couple like different topics associated with tarot. So I don't see any questions yet, but again, if you have a burning tarot question, please feel free to put it in the chat. So here's a big question. Oh, here we go. Okay. I can do like a general one for you, Mousier, or if you have like a specific question. So general, I can just say, something like what can you expect? What does the week look like for you? So just something general, if that helps. I know sometimes like it's like I want a reading, but what do I want to ask? So general. All right. So we're just gonna see what can Meowser expect coming forward. So let's see what we've got for you. I didn't cut the deck, and I should. There we go. It's cut now. Wow, we got the 8 of Cups in reverse. Let's see. There we go. You can see the whole card. So with this card, we actually, like, you're in an emotional state right now, and you can see, like, when it is in reverse, those cups are all over the place. So right now your emotions might seem all over the place. This might be why you were kind of having a hard time figuring out what question to ask, because you're probably feeling pulled in a couple different directions emotionally. So what I would say is, with this, start to concentrate on which emotion is overwhelming right now, or like standing out the most, and take that emotion. And I personally like to journal, but you can take that emotion, and if it means, like, write with it, talk it out, let one out, then go to your next emotion and let it out. Go to your next emotion and let it out. It doesn't necessarily mean you have 8, but you've got a couple there. So if you're grieving, there's five steps to grieving. You go for the anger stage, the grief stage. And so it could be something similar to that, and you may not realize it. So you might actually be going through the 5 steps of grieving, and all of the emotions are hitting at once. And so it could be overwhelming. So right now, that's kind of what you're dealing with right now. So just kind of try to pick each one out and sort each emotion out, and you'll be good to go. So bright blessings. So we're doing 1-card readings tonight. Please feel free if you have a question. You're welcome, Meowser. Please feel free if you have a question, or if you just want a general reading, to toss that in there. I'll give it a second, and in a second I will I'll throw out a question that Azrael and I will answer for anybody who is interested. So I know sometimes it is hard, so please feel free if you just want a general. I'll do a general for you too. So, and I am here every Tuesday. All right, Tanya Lynn, here we go. Let's get you a nice general one here. So what is going on with Tanya Lynn? And your card fell right out. Oh, wow. You got the 10 of Cups. So, so you have a lot of really great things going on right now, and you can kind of see this in the card. You can see you've got brightness in your future. You have got all this beautiful light. You have a lot of beautiful things coming forward. So if you're not feeling it that right now, it is coming. So beautiful things are coming your way. Be ready to grab them and be grateful for them. So this is a beautiful card to get. So it's literally like you've accomplished something fabulous, and it might be something small, it might be something big. Great things are coming. So how beautiful. Yay, I love having cards like that. And Meowser, wonderful. Yeah, that's you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It is hard going through those stages of grief. It's pretty difficult to do that. So so beautiful. I'm glad you both had such a beautiful reading. So we are doing Tuesday Tarot. So please feel free, if you would like a reading, to put your question down in the chat. In between questions popping up, I will be talking a little bit about tarot. Oh, you want a reading, Azrael?
Yeah, a general as well. Why not? Yes. I was commuting. Yes.
All right. Let's get Azrael his reading. So, Azrael's general. What can Azrael expect? All right, here we go, Azrael. Wow, we've got the 9 of Wands. Ooh. So, something's holding back some of your passion right now. And you've just, whatever it is, it might be like a block, like a creative block. And so you just got to work through it. So what's really nice, though, is we do have an eclipse coming up, and we do have full moon coming up. So this is when you need to get rid of that block. Like, this is perfect timing. So yes. So don't be frightened. You can get rid of it. So you know how to do full moons. So So yes, you can totally get rid of the full moon block. A full moon will help you just, and your creativity is going to come out.
Well, thank you so much. That resonates with me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Yes, I was actually commuting, so I didn't want to have my camera on, because we can get flagged if somebody's behind the wheels and stuff like that. But I had to pick up some heating pads, for my knee, because I've been putting ice. I've been soaking in Epsom salt with different essential oils, all type of stuff. None of it worked. But guess what? Just going right now to the store in that little drive, I feel like 95% better. And I think it was just you know, the state of mind. I'm going to heal myself by going buy something to heal myself. But I think me taking that initial step to go get it actually helped me, psychologically and actually physically. Thank you. Hey, how's it going?
I'm going to throw
La Forza, Laura, we're having one card readings. Go ahead, go ahead. Yes, she's down there. La Forza Wellness. That's
all right. If she wants a reading, I'll give her a reading. But while you're waiting, this book was life-changing. Eastern Body, Western Mind. I know it's sold, I think it's close to 1 million copies. It's been out for a very, very long time. But I will tell you, it has given me such a shift for my mindset because it is taking literally the Eastern Body and the Western Mind, combining them together. And you can take these principles to heal your chakras. So when we have like those pains, we can use there's so many, you can see I mark my books. So I have lots of marks, and this isn't even everything. I literally took notes. I have a note. I'm crazy, but yeah, so there's a lot of really great information in here to help us heal ourselves. It's just like my husband said to me, he's like, well, why don't you go get Claritin or something for your allergies? Because my allergies today have been so bad. I've been coughing up a storm, and I'm like, nope. I'm going to Reiki and drink my water and my tea, and I'll be just fine. So, because I try to stay away from chemicals in my system, but that's me. So sorry, that's like a huge sidetrack, but sometimes sidetracks are there for a reason. So hopefully anybody watching, if you want that book, it has literally been a life changer for me. I recommend it to all of my Reiki students now since I read it. It's one that is really great. Yes, and Tanya brought it up, how our thoughts can affect our body.
yes. Rowan, if you like, can you put that book back up? I'll screenshot it and actually put it for my avatar right here. But I'm like yourself. I try not.
I know we're quiet. I know Azriel's getting a picture of the screenshot right now. So for anybody that knows Eastern Body, listening. Yep, go ahead.
I got it. No, I was saying, I thought you could hear me, but I'm like yourself. Like I said, I try not to get over the counter stuff. I try to do everything holistic, and that's why I deal with the pain for longevity. I try, and I know I could get into maybe some ibuprofens and aspirins and all that stuff, but you know what? The long term side effects of that stuff is not good for us. It's synthetics. I deal with a lot of products, in my profession, and I've learned that the natural way is the best way to go, and it's out. The synthetic is just a cheap way to mass produce stuff. And how many times you see a commercial? This might work for you, but you're going to have this and that and this side effect and this side effect and that one and this one. Or if you have respiratory problems and all that, please stop using the product. So why face the consequences when healing starts from within ourselves and actually believe in ourselves and who we are as an individual? And there are some remedies that a kitchen witch can do, a gardener can do, and you grow your own herbs and so forth, and you can actually find remedies. One of the things that I've done, it's work with a lot of ginger, a lot of turmeric, black, what do you call it? Pepper, peppercorn, peppercorn and stuff like that, and try to do the natural way. But the pros and the cons is that I might have to deal with the pain for a long time, and that's what I've been dealing with. But for some reason, 100%, I'm telling you the truth. Don't know what happened between this trip, but I'm feeling a lot better.
And it's amazing because, like, honestly, I usually do heat and ice, but I've even I have like a rice bag I made up, and my husband's like, you should sell these. So I probably will add them to my repertoire of stuff on my website. But I have a rice bag that I have essential oils on because when it's allergy season, like right now, it's literally starting. I have to warm it and put it on my face because I am so susceptible to getting sinus infections. And so, like, as soon as I'm done with this live, I'm literally going to go warm my rice bag. So I just put, like, if anybody's interested, because you can do it for any body parts. You need flannel or felt, and you want to sew it. You want to sew it 4 sides. You're going to sew all 4 sides, but you want to leave a little hole. You're going to put your rice in a container. You're going to mix the essential oils in. So like for my sinuses, it's eucalyptus and peppermint. But like because I do have an old knee injury that acts up every once in a while. With that, I usually do peppermint, eucalyptus, and lavender. So you put it in the rice and you kind of mix it up really super good. And then you just put it in there, sew your bag shut. You put it in the microwave for 1 minute. It's amazing how healing that is. But what happens, Azriel, is like those like narcotic pain meds and those pain meds, they mask the pain. So you can have the pain for weeks and months. And the only thing, like, especially if it's narcotics, the only thing you're getting is masked pain and addiction. And then when you stop taking them, the pain is still there because you haven't done what you need to heal it. And now you are potentially addicted to pain meds. So, that's what typically happens, unfortunately.
I agree with you. I visit my mother's house, and sometimes my brother's there, and I might say here or there. I don't always ache, but just for example, like my knee, and you want to take one of these pills, they're good for you. Those ones that are bad for everybody that are addictive. And I say no, thank you. I'll deal with the pain by myself. But yeah, we don't want the cheap way out. The cheap way out can be that route where it's just going to take you down a rabbit hole of aches and pains and confusion.
Yep. But please, everybody, I'm not saying do everything holistically. Please listen to your body and follow your primary care physician and any medical advice. I'm very lucky that my primary care physician, she believes in modern medicine, but she also believes in holistic. So I'm so blessed to have her because I know that she's not just going to feed me like Oxycontin. So yep. And that's the book I recommended. So, and again, welcome everybody. We really appreciate you coming and joining the live. Azriel is my friend, my sweet, sweet friend, and my moderator tonight. And so he did put that book up because we did get a little sidetracked on one of those. Yes, Tanya, pain is tough. I've been dealing with a toothache. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, hun. Peppermint tea. And go to the dentist. I literally had in November, was it November? Yes, it was November. It started the end of October and into November. I had an impacted tooth and it was so infected. And I'm like, oh, it'll go away because I'm doing all my herbs and stuff. But yeah, I did have to get a root canal, and I was hoping not. But yes, the toothaches are worse because our nerves in our face. So when we have ear infections or sinus infections or like pink eye, all those pains are so much worse because all of our nerve endings in our face are attached right to our brain. So we could literally have a broken leg and a toothache, and that toothache is going to hurt worse than our broken leg because it just takes our brain a lot longer to realize that our leg hurts. So yeah, kind of the joy, especially as we grow older too. So I am doing 1 card readings tonight. Yeah, go ahead, Azriel.
No, and I said, I was going to say too, and knocks you the heck out of the equilibrium. So that balance that we seek on a day-to-day basis, that affects our equilibrium. I've gotten vertigo from it.
No, it's not fun at all. Yeah, sometimes when we're dealing with toothaches, it's not super fun. And actually, you can also put like a black tea bag, warmed one, where on the outside of your tooth. So you make up the tea, drink the tea, take the tea bag, warm it in the microwave, and just put it on your face. It will help. But I know all sorts of tricks because I was doing mind over matter, but my body said, no, honey, you need a root canal. So which unfortunately does happen. So again, I am doing one card readings. So if you do want a one card reading, go ahead, put it in the chat. But while I wait, we're going to just kind of have a quick little, like, we're going to discuss some other things. Like we did kind of veer off of divination there for a second and talked about pain. So, all right. So here's a question I get asked is, how can tarot help individuals find their life path and purpose? So, Azriel, I'll let you answer that one. Yes, and Meowser, no, you can't over your head.
I was running from one room to the other room. Well, I definitely believe, it helps you out by the simple fact of bringing awareness. Because, sometimes we second guess. And when you get a tarot card reading, per se, it actually gives you a confirmation. And actually, the same thoughts that you were having, and then you doubted yourself. When you get a reading, it's going to confirm some of the things that you've been doving on. Just like Meowser, when you were down there and said, what resonates that you're going through those things. That's just an example, because sometimes the divine works in ways, and us as individuals tend to say like, no, that can't be true. And that's how we get ourselves in trouble sometimes. Sometimes, like myself, I get this intuitive message. Intuition kicks in, and my gut feeling is telling me to go right. And then I go left, and then something happens, and I said I knew I should have go right. So when we get these tarot readings, it's just the same way. Your energy is actually also tapping into these cards, and the reader is just giving you that gateway, so that way you can gain that information that you need. Also, the awareness, because sometimes like I said, we just need that secondary confirmation. So it's called collaboration. So it's collaboration, understanding of it.
Yes. And, a lot of these, oh, Sensodyne, yep. Yes, actually, Mouser's right there. But when we do get these readings, they do, especially because I'll overthink things, and not all the time, but I'll be like doing something and I'm really confident, and then I'm like, oh, wait, or I could do it this way or this way. And then all of a sudden I start to overthink. And when that happens, I got to pull a card. It's just that, all right, what is it that I need to do right now? Because I'm overthinking. So, and it does help with that. And that's like, I think a lot of people that actually come to me for readings, they tend to overthink a situation when it's a lot simpler than it needs to be. Or then they're making it. And that even happens in our own life, in our own personal lives. So that's the nice thing, is that when we get a reading, we can understand what we need to do. And yes, we can actually literally ask, what do I need to do? Like, am I on the right path? Especially when you are on your spiritual path. So, for example, like right now, for over a decade, I've really been into my spiritual path. I'm just learning and sucking up as much as I can. I'm teaching, I'm living it like daily. I live it so much that it's intertwined with my mundane life. And I did pull tarot cards. I was like, all right, let's see. Am I really on the right path? Did I finally find the right thing? And yeah, it confirmed it. But the other thing that confirmed it was the fact that I'm actually happy. So that's also a big thing is, are you happy? But yes, we can confirm, are we doing what we want to do? Now, I don't ever pull him for my daytime job. I'm really good at what I do in my daytime job. I'm like, because my husband's even like, you're so smart with it. I don't enjoy it, but it puts food on the table and keeps a roof over our head. So I'm like, you know what? Sometimes we have to make sacrifices so that we can have the fun stuff. And hey, you know what? It helps me take classes and teach classes and have time to come on TikTok with all of you. So, Azrael, anything to add?
Because I do understand what you're saying regarding us as individuals. We got the ability to overthink, and we might have the answer, that first thought that we have, and the more that we overthink, we're diluting our answer. So now we're giving ourselves two options, three, four, five, six, seven. Before you know it, that true answer of how we can resolve an issue, whether it's a question or even a decision that it's so simple, but yet you make it so complex, we dilute that answer. And that's the thing about us as individuals. I myself, I try to encourage individuals to pause. We can never act on action. In other words, resonate and look for the signs. And tarot is one way we can gain signs. When we don't go against, with what our intuition is telling us, what our higher self is telling us, I tend to do the same thing. Rowan, I actually, read a card for myself, and then I sit on it. I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. But the main thing is that confirmation. And that's why a lot of us out here in this world, whether it's in the physical world, or in the social media, we're looking for the confirmation and the answers. But once we realize the answers are within ourselves, these things are what shows us. You know what? I knew it all the time. And the more that we are aware of it, and the more we can utilize tarots as a divination card and actually get the answers, the more we realize that, what? We have that magic within ourselves. So it inspires us. It gives us that inspiration, the fire.
Yes. Yes, it does. And I do want to caution everybody though too at the same token. There are a lot of people who will go to multiple readers with the same question. And I've literally had people come up to me and they're like, well, I asked the same question to five other readers and they all got either the same card or a card that's similar because there are similar cards. And I'm like, if you keep asking it will eventually give you the answer you want, even though it's not right. It's just tarot saying, why are they not understanding that I've given them the answer? And that will happen. So, you know what? Ask it, move on. You don't need to ask multiple times, even if you're tempted to. And, like one thing I do, like I'll have students all the time, and every once in a while I'll do a reading for myself, and I'm like, ugh, did I interpret this right? And I'll reach out to one of my tarot teachers or one of my tarot friends and say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? And I just send the picture. I have my students do that all the time. They'll be like, I pulled these cards. This was my question. What are your thoughts? Because sometimes we're not sure if we interpreted it right. And it's okay. It is harder to read for yourself. I will give that. It is a lot harder, especially when you are asking something that you are emotionally invested in. It's a lot harder to read for yourself because you know what you want the cards to say, and they're probably telling you, no, honey, that's not what it is. So, Azrael, I don't know if sometimes you have those where you like pull a card and you're like, this is really hard.
Yes, and I do agree, and that's why. Oh, my background dropped. But yes, and that's why sometimes the answer is right in your face, and if it resonates, don't second guess yourself. What you've seen is what you pulled, and if there's so much in a card, and like the action, the stillness and everything. So like you were saying, it could resonate with us, but you know what? We have that option to actually change the perspective. So if it's saying, what, you're in bad times, you got to worry about it. What do? You actually can find a way to overcome that situation that actually becomes a dark shadow. So yeah, I've seen cards like that. Or if you have multiple cards too, it not go to multiple individuals, but you utilize multiple cards. Hey, Wisdom Weaver, nice to see you.
Yes, welcome, welcome. So, welcome everybody. Please don't forget to give the video a heart, and please feel free to give Azriel and myself gifts. We do appreciate those. I am doing one card tarot pull, so if you would like a tarot reading, I will do a tarot reading for you. I know we've got people coming and going, and in between, we're just talking about anything tarot or spiritual that we happen to talk about. And I say that because sometimes I see a squirrel and I have to talk about the squirrel before I go back to the tarot. So and if you're new, you'll soon catch on when I go live that I do occasionally do that. So because sometimes we do get signs that we need to stop and chat about other than the signs that we have in the tarot. So which is super fun. So yes, so I'm just kind of looking if there's any questions on tarot. And please feel free to follow me. My Patreon link and my website link are in my bio. So if you go to my page and you follow me, you can find my website. My website, you can sign up for an actual full reading that would be private. I would do it on Zoom. So you wouldn't need to worry about asking a question on TikTok. And I do Reiki sessions, I teach classes, and I have an abundance of beautiful crystals, and I also make candles, and I have spell kits. So I am a practicing witch and pagan. So yes, you can find all that kind of fun stuff there. And I do have a lot of tarot decks for sale too. So if you are interested in tarot for yourself, or I mean, I literally have the ones I read with, and then I have like ones that I collect for the artwork, because there are some tarot decks that are just, the artwork is just so stunning. I don't know, Azriel, have you seen some that you're just like, oh my gosh, this artwork is just amazing?
Sure, a lot. I know you personally, so I see some of the decks that you have. But overall, yes, some of them are so unique that they can be actual collector's items where you get it and just know that you possess them because you don't want to play around with them or use them to read. It's just knowing that it's a unique. Some of them are limited edition as well.
Yeah.
And depending on the individual and what you like. There's so many different kinds. And you know, how have you done Reiki on Asriel?
Not, I don't think I have yet. Or if I did, it was like 4 years ago. Because I know there were a couple times when we were in the park and people would say, give me Reiki. See what
Yeah.
happens when you're local, you do weird things like that.
I actually I also can work with Reiki, but I'm not a teacher. I'm just a practitioner. I'm a
Yeah.
practitioner, and I never take it upon myself to try to teach somebody else because each individual is gifted in its own way, and there's special traits. But you know what? I don't think I if I recall, I don't recall. I don't know. It's a good question, Tanya Lynn. Thank you for asking that question.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yes.
Azriel knows how to get a hold of me, so it's all good because he knows he can give me a call and we can meet up and check it out. And actually, Azriel, like I'll go walking and my knee that has an old injury that nobody could figure out what was actually wrong with it. I think it was just I over danced on it, to be honest with you. Um, Sometimes I have to like just sit down on the ground, give my knee Reiki, give it a couple seconds, and get up and start walking again. so, so if anybody ever sees me like on a walking path, just going and going, and then all of a sudden I sit down, it's probably because my knee's like saying, "Give me some Reiki." Yeah. So,
Tanya Lynn,
oh,
I was going to say, I have it about 80%, but you know what? I think a lot of it is associated with my stress, stressing to get from point A to point B. And today I noticed something when I was commuting that if I took my hand and had the palm facing downward the seat, and I lifted my hand underneath my right hand, it seemed to ease the pain. So I think too, there might be a dip in my driver's seat because I'm utilizing all the time. So I think there's a dip in there. It's causing me to arch in a specific way that is not comfortable. And I'm stressing, I'm stressing from point A to point B, then my back is not arching right. And then, when I'm doing these lives, and also Rowan, I would recommend to you the more that you do this, maybe get up every once in a while and stretch it, because that's something that have not done. I sit consistently 4 hours, 5 hours on a live. And I think that also, sitting in the same position, posture would also affect it. So imagine working in a vehicle, commuting 4 to 5 hours a day, then coming home and sitting down on a live for 5 hours. That's 9 hours of pure sitting
Sitting.
without no real movement. Yes.
Yeah, and like cuz my daytime job, I work from home and so I'm sitting. I sit all day. So I actually like now that it's warm because I would actually what I would do is instead of like throwing something in my garbage can, I would walk it out to my outside garbage can because it would give me about 100 steps. And so, but when it was really cold out, I'm like, I'm not even going outside. I'm not even opening the door. So, but yes, now that it's nice out, that's what I'm trying to do that. And I'll probably start my lunchtime walks again here pretty soon because yeah, when we're sitting on these, even I'll teach like, well, I teach the Reiki class online, and I do sometimes in persons, but the Reiki class is pretty long. And so I do literally, I'm like, hey, we've gone for 2 hours. We're doing a break right now. Stand up, stretch your legs. Cause you do have to, you have to stretch your body. Your body doesn't want to sit for an entire day. It's really hard. So, and yeah, and when you're driving from place to place and with how large our, our downtown is, you could be in the car for 45 minutes easy, even an hour easy just to go from one place to the other. So yeah, it does get very interesting when we're doing that. So it is Tuesday Tarot. So please feel free if you want to have a card pulled for you. I've got my decks here ready, and I will gladly pull a reading for you. I am reading from one of my favorite decks, so I will just show the deck box. The Shadowscapes Tarot. So it's one of my very favorite. Let's see. So when you do Reiki, can you see or just feel? Oh, you feel it, Tanya. Oh, and I did see you did have a question. I have done it on a live. Actually, it was one of Alien T's lives. And I think you were there, Azrael. It got pretty heavy. Sometimes our spiritual lives can get pretty heavy. And I just said to Alien T, let me give everybody Reiki. Just give me 2 minutes to give everybody Reiki to kind of lighten the atmosphere. So I will occasionally do that, especially if a panel discussion. I mean, it wasn't like heated. It was just, it was emotionally very heavy. It was I can't remember what the topic was, but yeah. But yeah, you completely feel Reiki. What is really fascinating is when my husband actually, also is, he's a Reiki practitioner, and, he was like, you should go get your Reiki, so I started getting Reiki, and I didn't realize because the whole time I've known him, he's been a Reiki practitioner, but he emits Reiki energy. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, so when he sleeps, he emits it. And then when I got my Reiki practitioner and then my my Reiki master teacher, he's like, whoa, you're emitting at the morning after my classes, he's like, you are emitting so much Reiki. And then when I got my Egyptian Reiki, because I also am an Egyptian Reiki master teacher, he was like, I don't know what that Reiki is, but wow, that energy you emit. So subconsciously, while we are asleep, both of us are literally healing each other because we're literally emitting the Reiki energy. So Reiki is actually quite amazing that way because you can subconsciously do it. And I've even noticed, like, I'll be teaching a class and I'll be trying to teach people about energy. And one of my favorite things to teach is how our energy is. And I'll say, put your hands together, rub them together. All I need to do is do this and I can feel the Reiki. So it is really beautiful. If it's something, anybody who's new, if you've never worked with Reiki energy, it is absolutely beautiful. And my Reiki master teacher, Terry Dunlin, she said, and this isn't verbatim, but she says, every family should have a Reiki practitioner. Every household should have a Reiki practitioner, and every extended family should have a Reiki master. And, it is very true because the healing energy it can give, the relaxation it can give, the energy it gives to tap in, is absolutely so beautiful and amazing. So I do highly encourage, if you know, if you're interested, definitely, if I like resonate with you, I would love to be your teacher. But, if I don't resonate with you, find someone who does. So, somebody has strong chi power, you know, use it with your meditation. There's a lot of different forms of energy healing. So Reiki is not the only one, but you can also use it like if you like to work with crystals, you can work with it with crystals too, because crystals love that kind of stuff. If you love to garden, use it with gardening because plants love energy too. As a matter of fact, like my plants, they love like when I go out, because I'll pull my Reiki out as I'm planting and pulling the weed. Like I'll pull the weeds out and then give the ground Reiki, and that's why my weeds love my gardens. But but my plants love it too. So like they might look like they're not going to do well. I've had where my husband's like, I think your lavender bush is dead. I'm like, nah, give it a week. And within a week, he's like, what'd you do? I'm like, I Reiki'd it. I'm like, I was just giving it Reiki and love and water. So it does boost it. So if that's anything. And Azrael, do you want to add anything about Reiki? I know we kind of veered way off topic, but it's all good.
Very good. No, I really was multitasking, watching the dishes while you're discussing that. But you know what? Yes, definite. One thing that we're talking about radiating, that energy. One thing that I could do is actually, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, is I make a place humid, like real hot, like humid. It, why? I never really look in that aspect, and I get scared because I'm like, man, maybe I'm gonna human combust.
No, that's the same thing with the Reiki energy though. It makes it really
Yes,
hot because my
yes, real
husband,
hot, real humid.
yeah, because my husband will be like, it's like 10 degrees outside. We should put another blanket on the bed. And I'm like, I look at him like, really? Because with your Reiki energy you emit and the one I emit, our bed gets like 10,000 degrees. Like, we don't need a second blanket. Not that that's
Well,
TMI.
there's not too much information. If you let your mind go there, now that I think about
No,
it.
I was
But
just like, I mean, I hope people aren't like, whoa, but yeah, even like my brother, when I stayed at his house a couple years ago, when I stopped in, and he had gone downstairs, and I was in the shower, so he thought, oh, I'll fold her blankets, because I was sleeping on there. He has like this really giant comfy couch, and he's like, oh, I'll fold her blankets, and he's like, was there a heater? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, these blankets are like hot. And I know they're not electric blankets. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I emit Reiki energy. Because he was like, why are these blankets so hot? He thought I'd put them in the dryer or something. I'm like, no. So that's what that energy can do. So, yes, Meowser, that's actually probably your aura energy coming through with your power, and that will happen. So the colors can come through. So it's quite fun to see that. So anybody want to have a 1-card tarot reading for Tuesday Tarot? If anybody else would like a reading, please feel free to put your question below. We'll go for just a little bit. Okay, you can only see it sometimes. Yeah. It's something that, because I've been able to see colors since I was little in people, and actually I didn't realize until I got older that I can actually see the spirits' auras colors too. So some people have that gift. Anybody who watched the show The Conjuring, it's based off Ed and Lorraine Warren's experiences. And I watched an interview that Lorraine Warren did, and it was the first time I was like, oh, there's somebody else in this world that has that gift, because she talked about how when she was little, she could hear spirits, but she can see colors. She can see people's auras colors and the spirits' auras. So it is really fascinating. Like that's kind of a fascinating thing. So yes, so yes, the conjuring stuff actually did happen, but that's a topic for another day. So, but I want to thank everybody who's joining us here tonight, and thank you to everybody who's given us gifts and those who have liked the live. It does help get me up and boost me up in the algorithms because I am a fairly new channel. Um, Thanks to Azriel. Like he's like, come on, encouraging me.
Yes, and for those that are here tonight and not aware, Rowan Ravenwolf is actually one of my local friends, and actually, she actually is a mentor to me, and also my tarot card reading, teacher, you know. So, and we've been on tours, we've been in many places, like what do you call it? The cemeteries.
Cemeteries. Yep.
So we've been in the cemetery together. So we've done some workshops together. So, it's somebody that I highly recommend. Somebody I know personally from my Chicagoland area.
Yes, and if you're in the Chicagoland area, I always post on my website when events are coming up, which actually I just registered for Theosofest. So I can't believe like that's September 7th. So that will be here before we know it. Like this year's flying by. So I'm like, it will literally be here before we know it. So I've got to start whipping up stuff for that. Oh, you're muted.
Hey,
There we go.
September 6th is my birthday, and September 7th is Sunday then. So I
Oh,
think
no,
let's
it's
just
gonna be September 6th that I have. So, because it's this Saturday.
okay. So it's my birthday. Yeah, I think it falls on my birthday. I need to go there. I lost my headphone charger, but I think this year too it fell on my birthday week. As well.
Yep, probably
Yeah,
did.
yes. So what happened to my background here? I don't know where it went.
I
Let me
don't
find
know
it.
either. That's cool. We'll see. This year we'll just like, we'll celebrate. We'll sing to you. We'll get everybody
Mhm.
around to sing. And I'm not going to be by the road this year because I picked another area. I've always been by the bookstore, but never by the road. And I did not like being by the road because the cars were so loud. I felt like I was screaming all day. So I'm like, nope, I put myself in the trees in the middle.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes,
I want the grass. I want the trees in the middle.
right. And for those that are not aware, here in our area, we have a Theosophical Society. It's one of three in the United States, correct? One is in Colorado, I believe.
Yeah, there's one in New York, one in Colorado for sure. I think there's actually one also in California. I almost said California. California. Wanted to combine
Yes,
Colorado and California.
it's a beautiful place. The Theosophical Society, and they got books of Eastern practices and also Western practices, and a big library. They have individuals coming from all around the world to do a booths, presentation. I even seen a couple of guys here from TikTok. There's that one card reader I was telling you. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a card reader. He was actually reading cards while the Theosophical Society was happening. It's a big event, and he was live on TikTok. And I was like, I know you. I didn't know him personally, but he was a friend of mine on TikTok. But then I got to bond with him. It is pretty cool. We get different individuals from everywhere. Hey, TJ, nice to see you. TJ, we're doing one card tarot reading.
One
One
card
card.
tarot.
All you have to do is ask a question, and Rowan Ravenwolf here will answer. Pull a card for you.
Yes, 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 yes. So yes, we did get a little sidetracked there talking about the Theosophical. So they call it Theofest, and it's every year. It's usually the weekend after Labor Day. Um, Sometimes I kind of wait because Labor Day comes sometimes can be a little weird, but it's always like beautiful weather. I think I've never had like even when we've had a little bit of rain. Last year it was a little colder than normal, but it warmed up. But like when I was setting up at 6 in the morning, it was cold. So yeah.
Our weather's strange. Like right now it's about 30 degrees. Hey TJ, and earlier we were about close to 60. We were touching 60. So it was different. When the sun is out, it's a big difference. And for those that haven't been in Illinois, in the Chicagoland area, it's hard to leave here because we get all the weather sometimes in one day. We can have frost in the morning, like winter just is here. Next thing you know, It's a sunny day. It's a beautiful day, and then we get wind like from nowhere. It gets cloudy. It starts to rain. So we get all different weathers in one day.
Yeah, yes, we have had winter, spring, summer, fall in one day. So
Oh, okay.
TJ says it's bipolar, and I saw he
Yeah,
wants a reading too. So TJ,
yeah.
do you want to put TJ, do you have a question or do you want just a general? And actually, I had a roommate from Texas, so oh, there's 4 in Southern California. Good to know. A general. Okay. All right, TJ. What can TJ expect? What's going on with TJ? All right, TJ. Wow, you got the 4 of Wands. Look at this. This is so stunningly beautiful. So you have like everything bright is going your way. So even if you don't know it right now, everything is just right there. Let that passion out. You're working with something and oh, you're scared. Okay. Let that passion out because it is right. So follow your gut. Your instinct is not steering you wrong. It's literally telling you everything is okay. And sometimes when we have that much love and compassion in us and it's coming out, sometimes it can be a bit scary and a bit overwhelming. It's okay. Just embrace it and love it and just aim for the sun. See, we've got like the bright sun. Let your divine light shine because that's what it's saying, is saying that you're very divine and that light needs to come out. So ooh, beautiful reading. Ooh, everybody's had a beautiful reading tonight. This has been a fun night. So, that's fabulous. Yes, I like that. I like when we have great readings. And I want to thank everybody who's liking the live and those who've sent gifts. Again, I'm just a baby channel, but I'll be bigger soon. So I do appreciate everybody who's helping. And thank you so much for even coming because that means a lot. I will be here Thursday and I will actually have a panel going Thursday on a spiritual topic. I'm debating between the 3, so I'll see. Maybe I'll be influenced by what Alien Teas is because I do usually go on Alien Teas. So his is tomorrow. Azrael, are you doing any lives this week? All right, wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. So did you say self-discovery? You broke up a little.
Discovery,
Oh, all
correct.
right.
Yeah, so that's my topic, self-discovery.
Ooh. Okay. All right, so that maybe I'll pick one that goes into it because I'll start at 8:30. So we'll just do 8:30. So then you can come to my live, and then we can all go to Azrael's live. So it's like it's a party.
Rowan, did you see the galaxy that TJ sent you?
I did. Thank you so much, TJ. That was like absolutely
Thank you.
beautiful because I'm sitting here. I'm like, ooh, we need that. So how wonderful. Oh, there we go. Lois, sure question. Will this week be peaceful? Okay, for Lois. Will Lois's week be peaceful? All right, Lois. Oh my gosh, this one's gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. So this is the Queen of Wands and your heart is in nature. You're ready to go. So this week is going to be peaceful for you. Embrace what you love. This is telling me that you love doing something and you're going to be able to embrace it this week and just do it. You're just going to feel so relaxed and calm. So it will be a very peaceful week. Look at how beautiful that card is. So how beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, thank you, TJ. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure Azrael does too. We do have a fun energy.
100%. And I don't think it's because we're in Illinois. A lot of people say that we're different in Illinois, Chicago. But I think it's just, naturally. You know what, Rowan, can I ask you, can I see the box for these cards or the back of the cards
Yes.
so that way we see what cards you're utilizing?
Yes, this is the Shadowscapes Tarot. It is put out by Llewellyn. I actually was just on their website over the weekend and they still have them there. I own 2 decks because This is my newer deck. My older deck is falling apart. So I was like, I don't want these to sell out. Well, I shouldn't say the deck isn't falling apart. The box it was in is falling apart. So yes, that's the Shadowscape Tarot. And you can get those on Llewellyn. I also recommend, I don't carry them. I don't carry Llewellyn yet, just because the amount you have to have for wholesale is pretty high. But you know, please support your local metaphysical or pagan shop if you do love this deck. I always like really encourage that. So, because we do need to support the small businesses in the community, especially now if you're in the States. So, and TJ, glad you love to dig Chicago. There's actually a lot of very amazing, magical people here in the community. So, but Azrael and I have had some very amazing experiences in the forests, and yes, they do have forest preserves. So for however many acres of housing there has to be this a certain acreage of forest preserve. So there are literally forest preserves in the middle of the Chicago area. And it's actually really nice because you can go in the middle of the forest. And I've even, like, I thought it was so bizarre when I first moved here because I was like, I saw coyotes running across the highway. And that was when I discovered all the forest preserves and how big they are. So you will find them running across the highway, right, Azrael?
Oh yeah, and if you're really into paranormal or cryptoids and stuff like that, oh, we have so much of it here. In such a grand big city, we have so many cryptoids and so many stories here. Can you share a brief one with that First Avenue and Roosevelt Cemetery? Remember the one that the river was right next to it and the bodies were being taken out of the cemetery?
The one in Oak Park?
Yes, that one.
Yes. Okay. So yes. So, or it's actually Forest Park, not Oak Park. So actually, there was a moratorium in Chicago. So there were cemeteries in downtown Chicago, cemeteries and graveyards, and they had to do a moratorium because when the spring melt would come, all of a sudden there would be caskets and bodies floating in the Chicago River and on Lake Michigan. So what would happen is the water level would rise and actually lift the bodies up out of the ground, and they would be floating on the Chicago River and into Lake Michigan. So they put a moratorium on and said no more burials in Chicago proper. At that point, Oak Park, Forest Park was kind of the edge of Cook County. And so Forest Park kind of became the big cemetery place. So Concordia is there. That's a Lutheran cemetery. Waldheim / Forest Park. That's my favorite cemetery. That's there. The Jewish cemetery, I don't remember their name, but they're huge. That Jewish cemetery is humongous. And then there's, of course, several Catholic cemeteries. So the train would actually, the funeral, if you've ever seen pictures of Lincoln's funeral procession, that's literally what would happen. So if you died in downtown Chicago, like in the Loop, they would put you on the train, take you out to Forest Park, and then you would be put in a carriage and you would be taken to whichever cemetery. So whether it was the non-denominational was Wildheim Forest Home. That's the non-denominational, but the other ones, like you've got the Lutheran, there's a Protestant one, there's the Catholic one, there's the Jewish cemetery. So it was really interesting. But yes, spring melt, they had bodies floating. And keep in mind, when this was going on, this was like the 19th century. So like the 18th century and the 19th century. And so bodies, if you had money, you would have a wood casket or a wood coffin. But most people were shrouded in similar to a cheesecloth. And so you were just wrapped up and then buried in the ground that way. So it was very interesting. So hopefully there's so many interesting stories about funeral arts in Chicago, like tons of interesting stories. And we have a lot of really, considering that America is a baby compared to other countries when we come to architecture and all of that, It is very interesting, but Chicago does have some really amazing cemeteries that have a lot of historical significance. I like that's kind of like my fun thing to do. And now that it's getting warmer, like as long as the weather stays, I'll probably be live a little bit this weekend as I walk through a cemetery. But yeah, we've got Al Capone is buried out here. Almost every cemetery in Chicago has somebody that either was in Al Capone's gang or was against their gang. So yeah, there is usually there is a lot of them buried throughout the city. Sears and Roebuck is buried out here. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, Ernest Hemingway's grandparents and parents are buried here. So we have like a lot. There's a lot of really great historical stuff out here in Chicago. So, but yes, and there's a lot of really great paranormal tours. So Azrael was like talking about that because there are a lot of companies that do really great tours out here at cemeteries and some of the old haunted buildings too. There's a lot of old haunted buildings. As a matter of fact, Azrael, I bet you go into a lot of old haunted buildings.
Oh yeah, I've been intrigued by that since a child. And a fun fact, we in one of the cemeteries, and Rowan, I'm gonna blow your mind. I do want you to share your perspective on it. We have a plot. There's a plot there with about 6 or 7 individuals, and their last name is the Munsters. There's the Herman Munsters. Yes, just like the show.
The show.
We have the Munsters.
There is somebody whose last name is Frankenstein in Chicago.
As well. Yes, yes.
Oh, we found it together.
We
You were with
we
me
were
when I
led.
found it.
Yes, we were led to that one because we were actually going toward the the indigenous mound. There's an
Yes.
indigenous mound as well in there.
Yeah, and then we
So
stopped and we looked down and we went, "Oh my gosh, it's Frankenstein."
yeah, a family named the Frankensteins as well.
Yes,
Yes.
their last name is Frankenstein. So like that one is a cool like I like to stop there because it is really cool. Oh, there's actually in that particular cemetery there are 2 Tiffany monuments. So the families had so much money, they actually paid Tiffany and Company to do their family headstones. And so like a monument will be like it will have like the family name on it and it can be pretty extravagant. The Tiffany ones are pretty extravagant. And they're like amazing. I can only imagine like if you paid Tiffany and Company to do those, how much they had to pay for that. So, I mean, I can only imagine. It was probably quite a pretty penny, but yes, we have like a lot of fascinating historical stuff. Boy, we could do like a whole thing. I know I've thought about that. I've thought about like, Resurrection Mary. That's interesting. And that cemetery is interesting. That we have a lot of really interesting cemeteries out here.
And besides that, if individuals are into food, a lot of individuals love food. We got so many varieties of food here, and you name it, we got everything. We got Greek Town, Little Italy, Chinatown. So we got so many different varieties of food, and trust me, everywhere you go, you're gonna find a gem. So it's a foodie town. A lot of great chefs from around the world actually established here. It's a great place here. So many things to do in Chicagoland.
Yeah, there's like Taste of Chicago. You name a country, you can get food from there at Taste of Chicago. It is crazy. I've only gone once because it's just, well, plus my kids were little when I took them. So it was really crazy having, like, my son was probably 4 at the time. And it was just like, I was like, okay, this is too crazy with you when you have little kids. But, like you name the alcoholic beverage, it's there. You name the food, it's there. You've got like 80,000 different pizzas. You've got Greek food, Romanian food, Polish food. Like there's a lot of Polish bakeries and stuff out here too. We have a very large Polish and German community. And actually the largest Romanian community is here in Chicago too. So there's lots of great, like there's a little Turkish deli I like to go to when I'm in Rogers Park. They have like the best Turkish tea and like Turkish delight and all that fun stuff. I like just happened to be, I was waiting for something and I'm like, I wonder if they have tea because I was craving tea and I went in. I'm like, every time I come to Rogers Park, I have to come to this little place because it's like really good. So yeah, and you'll end up finding little little places that you're like middle of nowhere, teeny little delis that you're like, okay, I'll go in and try the food. But all right, we'll wrap up for tonight. But if anybody else would like a 1-card reading, I'd love to give a reading before we wrap up for the night. So I'll kind of wait and see. While I wait, Azrael, anything else you want to share? So you'll be going live on Thursday at 10:30. You already gave the topic. Anything else you want to share?
No, not at the moment. It's just a pleasure, having you being here tonight with you and everybody that actually stopped by. I encourage, we're here every Tuesday. Rowan is here every Tuesday. Please share the live with your friends, and oh, here we got a Carlos.
We got one. Okay, Carlos, do you have a specific question or would you want just a general reading? And I'll wait. I know it takes time to type. I couldn't speak there for a minute. General. Okay. All right. What can Carlos look forward to? What is Carlos going to have this week? All right, Carlos. Ooh, Temperance. Look at that. So I love this card because you've got a lot of strong emotional energy and you have a lot of light energy in this card. So if things have felt heavy in the past, right now is like just a really good time. Take it easy this week. Be comfortable in your skin and definitely just find that peace. You're going to have a very peaceful week this week based on this card. You have everything there. You've got a balance. So you can see right here, we've got the yin and the yang. You're very, very balanced this week. So it's a very good week for you. So just embrace everything this week. Ooh, what a beautiful card. We've had some beautiful readings tonight. I'm very excited for those readings. I'm excited for everybody. I kind of get that way a lot though. So
Yeah, so I was saying, for those that are here tonight, I look forward every Tuesday. It's 1-card pulls by Rowan Ravenwolf, and also share with your friends, and encourage them to stop by and get a card read. You know, Thank you so much, Rowan. I appreciate you for your smile and actually sharing the room with positivity because even the card that you pulled for me was a beautiful one and it's encouraging.
it was. We need that every once in a while. So, and thank you, Azrael, for monitoring. For being my moderator. I absolutely love that. So, and I want to thank everybody who's donated gifts to both Azrael and I. We really both appreciate it. And everybody who got a reading. Oh, I'm so glad you all got some beautiful readings. Thank you for joining. Thank you those who started following me and those who liked the videos. I really do appreciate it. So I will be live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Azrael will be live at 10:30, so we can go from my life to his life. So kind of fun there. That'll be exciting. I haven't picked my topic yet, but I'll have a fun spiritual topic. I will post it. If not tomorrow, it will definitely be Thursday, and then I'll have my little reminder that I'll be going live. And as always, just have an amazing week and merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.